What's up, Taiwan? Happy Friday! I'm Joey Chow with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Politics has entered the Winter Olympics, with a Chinese spokesperson declaring at an Olympics press conference that there's only one China. It has put in the spotlight Taiwan's dilemma of not being able to compete under its own name. In every Games since 1984, Taiwan's Olympians have had to use the name Chinese Taipei under pressure from China. It's an issue that is frustrating many Taiwanese.
Snow and ice. As far away from subtropical Taiwan as you can get. But that hasn't deterred these Taiwanese athletes from competing at the highest level at the Winter Olympics. 19-year-old Li Wenyi is the first Taiwanese woman to ever compete in the alpine skiing women's slalom event. She finished last out of 50 on Wednesday, but was ahead of 38 other competitors who didn't compete their runs. Speed skater 33-year-old Huang Yiting on Thursday finished 24th in the women's 1,000-metre race, ahead of 6 other skaters. Yet despite representing their country, these Olympians cannot compete under the name Taiwan or even its official name, the Republic of China. On the athlete's kit is printed the logo for Chinese Taipei, the name Taiwan's athletes have competed under since 1984, under pressure from China. With the Olympics in Beijing this year, Taiwan had initially declined to attend the opening and closing ceremonies. It was a point brought up by a journalist at the daily joint IOC press conference with Chinese officials.
They said they wouldn't. They said their athletes in the delegation wouldn't appear in the closing ceremony. And then they said that the IOC had been in touch and told them that they had to. And they said that they'd been told it was in breach of the Olympic Charter. So I just wondered if you could explain that position.
It is in the Olympic Charter. I don't know what the conversations were about, whether we told them or whether they understood or whatever.
The exchange prompted the Beijing Olympic spokesperson to reiterate the communist government's familiar refrain.
我想说的是，世界上只有一个中国，那么台湾是中国不可分割的一部分。这是公认的国际关系准则，也是国际社会的普遍共识。
Despite never ruling Taiwan, Beijing claims the country as its own and has consistently sought to reduce the self-governing democracy's sovereignty on the world stage. Many Taiwanese are resigned to using the name that denies Taiwan its sovereignty, but one voice remains defiant: independent lawmaker Freddie Lim. The rock music and politician has been making a point of this well before these Olympics. His uncensored feelings made at a concert in 2014 were put on an international stage again last year during a special show on Taiwan by one of America's most popular late-night hosts, John Oliver.
Just how ludicrous it is.
Our team, our national team, being called Chinese Taipei. Oh, we can't call you Taiwan, sorry. We have to call you Chinese Taipei.
And more recently, in an interview with TaiwanPlus.
I still feel very unfair that we use that name and cannot have the equal rights as the other NOC, National Olympic Committees. So I hope that in near future we can change that.
But with these Olympics putting China firmly on the world stage, trying to find a place for itself in world bodies has been a monumental uphill battle for Taiwan against China's influence. Patrick Chen and Ian Kavat for TaiwanPlus.
Swedish lawmakers from across the political spectrum are voicing support for Taiwan, with some even openly calling Taiwan a country. That's despite the fact that Sweden has formal ties with China and does not recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. During an annual foreign policy debate on Wednesday in Stockholm, several members of parliament pushed back against their country's one China policy. One social democrat referred to Taiwan as independent, and another parliamentarian from the moderate party asked why Sweden does not recognize Taiwan when it does recognize Palestine. One right-wing lawmaker addressed Taiwan's threat towards Taiwan, saying China needs to be held responsible for escalating the conflict. Taiwan reported 16 new domestic cases of COVID-19 and 51 imported ones on Friday. 2 years of the pandemic have taken their toll on Taiwan's main international airport, which has seen passenger numbers plummet to just 2% of pre-pandemic levels. Louise Watt reports.
Empty scenes at Taiwan's main airport.
Tight border controls because of the pandemic have hit Taiwan Taoyuan International Airport hard. It's estimated that by March, its accumulated debt will exceed $350 million. Add to that costs of more than $4 billion for building Terminal 3 and a third runway, and the state-owned company that runs the airport is on the verge of bankruptcy.
目前为止的话，我们大概已经有借款70几亿嘛。那我们预计到3月份，按照我们的工程进度相关一个东西的话，我们可能会累积借到100亿左右。
To make it through the crisis, the company is applying for additional funds from Taiwan's Transport Ministry, as it has no way of knowing when the pandemic will ease or the airline industry will recover.
疫情我们大概109年2月开始的话，我们那个旅客人次的话，从4800多万人次，然后到去年大概110年的话，大概91万人次，跌到地上就只剩下2%。
Taiwan's strict pandemic rules have also led to complaints over quarantine, as some residents in cities including Taichung have had to pay for a stay in a quarantine hotel when they were exposed to someone with COVID. Worried that the costs might make people hide that they were exposed, Taichung city government says it will now finance such quarantine stays. Officials are trying to make current life with the pandemic more bearable. Patrick Chen and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Real wages in Taiwan fell for the first time in 5 years in 2021. That's despite record export numbers and strong overall growth in the same period. In 2021, average monthly real wages across Taiwan were over 41,400 Taiwan dollars, or nearly $1,500. Adjusted for inflation, that's a fall of 0.04%. Taiwan's Consumer Price Index, on the other hand, rose by nearly 2% in 2021. And that higher cost of everyday goods is cutting into the pay packages of Taiwan's workforce. By contrast, Taiwan's semiconductor giant TSMC announced this week average bonuses of just under $45,000, nearly twice Taiwan's average annual salary. Apple CEO Tim Cook faces a potential revolt from shareholders over a nearly $99 million pay package awarded to him last year. An investor advisory group has urged the company's investors to vote against the pay package when they meet next month. They've raised concerns about the size of the payout and its design. It pointed out that half of the award lacks performance criteria. The amount is more than 1,400 times what an average Apple employee makes. The Taiwan Lantern Festival is underway in the southern city of Kaohsiung. The revelers were treated to a light show at the city's Love River Bay. As Pichi Chuang reports, the festival is also staging a special musical production.
A dress rehearsal at the Weiwu in Outdoor Theater in Taiwan's southern port city of Kaohsiung. The performers are getting ready for Maritime Glow. The main lantern is a party, a light show, Taiwanese opera, and musical all-in-one. It's part of the 2022 Taiwan Lantern Festival celebrations. The production boasts a stage that is immersive and without boundaries. It also incorporates the centerpiece lantern.
是史无前例的动员600人以上的这个演员跟艺术家的演出之外，事实上它的剧场之大，就是我们在武营晚点名的整个大投影。整个大投影，它就是一艘大船，这个故事就是船爱。
There are musical numbers to represent 5 different eras, telling stories of Taiwan over the past 400 years. Maritime Glow will be staged for 3 days, starting from Friday, and can also be viewed online. Damon Lin and Pichi Zhuang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from here in Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with some images of the latest Formula One cars which will be racing next season. I've been Joey Chow. Have a great night, and I'll catch you on the flip side.